What if I told you the story of Cleopatra VII, the last queen of Egypt? Isn't just about romance and betrayal, but survival, ambition, and a struggle for immortality. Cleopatra wasn't just a queen. She was a warrior, a strategist, and a survivor in a world dominated by men and empires. She seduced Rome's most powerful men, won battles with her wit, and died in a way so iconic it's still debated today. But how much of what you think you know about Cleopatra is true? Was she really just a femme fatale, or was she the ultimate ruler who dared to defy the Roman Empire? Oh, and yes, we'll talk about that famous rug story. Spoiler alert, it wasn't just for dramatic flair. Cleopatra VII, the queen who challenged Rome. Our story begins in 69 BCE, when Cleopatra VII was born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek family that had ruled Egypt for nearly 300 years. The Ptolemies weren't exactly the Brady Bunch. They were more like an ancient version of succession. Assassinations, betrayals, and family feuds were business as usual. Thanksgiving dinners? Probably a nightmare. From an early age, Cleopatra stood out. Unlike her siblings, she learned Egyptian, the language of her people, and immersed herself in their culture. She wasn't just a ruler, she was a symbol. She portrayed herself as Isis, the goddess of fertility and motherhood, making her a divine figure in the eyes of Egyptians. Her father, Ptolemy XII, was a weak ruler. When he died, Cleopatra, just 18 years old, was crowned co-ruler alongside her 10-year-old brother, Ptolemy XIII. And here's where the drama begins. Co-ruler sounds nice, right? Wrong. In reality, it was a power struggle. Cleopatra's little brother was a puppet controlled by advisors who didn't trust her ambition or intelligence. By 48 BCE, Cleopatra was exiled from her own kingdom. But Cleopatra wasn't going to sit quietly in the desert. She was about to stage one of the greatest comebacks in history. At the same time Cleopatra was plotting her return, Julius Caesar, the most powerful man in Rome, arrived in Alexandria. Caesar wasn't there to help. He was chasing a fugitive, Pompey, a rival he'd defeated in Rome's civil war. But Pompey's arrival in Egypt ended brutally. The young king Ptolemy XIII had him murdered to curry favor with Caesar. Caesar was disgusted. Egypt wasn't just a kingdom, it was the breadbasket of the ancient world, and now it was a political mess. Enter Cleopatra. She needed Caesar to take her side, but how do you meet a man surrounded by enemies who might kill you on sight? Cleopatra devised a plan so bold it became legend. You've probably heard this one. Cleopatra had herself rolled up in a rug and smuggled into Caesar's private chambers. It worked. Caesar wasn't just impressed, he was captivated. Cleopatra didn't just charm him, she convinced him to help her reclaim Egypt. Together, they defeated Ptolemy XIII in battle, and Cleopatra became queen once again. But this time, she wasn't ruling alone, she was aligned with the most powerful man in the world. Their partnership wasn't just political, it was personal. Cleopatra bore Caesar a son, Caesarion, whom she declared the rightful heir to both Egypt and Rome. But as Cleopatra's power grew, so did her enemies. In 44 BCE, Caesar was assassinated. Cleopatra's carefully built alliance was shattered, and Rome was plunged into chaos. But Cleopatra wasn't done yet. In the power vacuum left by Caesar's death, Rome was divided. Cleopatra needed a new ally, and she found him in Mark Antony, one of Rome's most charismatic generals. Cleopatra didn't just meet Antony, she dazzled him. Her arrival in Tarsus was nothing short of theatrical. She sailed on a golden barge dressed as the goddess Aphrodite, with servants fanning her and music filling the air. Imagine trying to have a normal meeting after that. Antony didn't stand a chance. Their partnership became legendary. Together, they ruled as if they were gods, uniting Antony's Roman territories with Cleopatra's Egyptian wealth. But while their love story flourished, their enemies in Rome were preparing for war. Octavian, Caesar's adopted son, saw Cleopatra and Antony as a threat. In 31 BCE, their forces clashed at the Battle of Actium. Cleopatra and Antony's navy was crushed, betrayed by defectors. Defeated, they retreated to Egypt. In the face of Octavian's advancing army, Antony fell on his sword, believing Cleopatra was already dead. When he discovered she was alive, he died in her arms. It was the end of their love story, but not the end of Cleopatra's fight. Cleopatra now faced a terrible choice: surrender and be paraded through Rome as a prisoner, or end her life on her own terms. A According to legend, she chose the latter, using an asp, a venomous snake, to take her life. But here's the twist. Was it really a snake? Some historians believe Cleopatra used poison, while others think her death was orchestrated by Octavian himself. What we do know is this. With Cleopatra's death in 30 BCE, Egypt fell to Rome, and the Ptolemaic dynasty ended. Cleopatra's story didn't just mark the end of an era. It became a symbol of resistance, ambition, and a woman's fight to control her destiny in a world ruled by men. Cleopatra's life was more than a tale of love and tragedy. It was a battle for survival, legacy, and immortality. What do you think? Was Cleopatra a brilliant ruler who defied the odds, or was she doomed from the start? Let us know in the comments. If you love untangling history's greatest dramas, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories that bring the past to life.